All right, so we can expect these few 4-mark questions from this topic. Number one, who was Benazir Bhutto? You guys can write any 4 points. That she was the daughter of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. She was the leader of Pakistan People's Party right after Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and she served as the prime minister for these 2 tenures. You can also mention the dates: 1988 to 90, and then 93 to 96. But her political rival was Nawaz Sharif, because if you see, both of their ministries are in line right after one another. So from 1988 to 1990, Benazir Bhutto was the prime minister. 90 to 93 was Nawaz Sharif's time. 93, 96 was again Benazir Bhutto. 96, 99 was again Nawaz Sharif. So this is how both of these prime ministers were rivals of each other, and they severely opposed and criticized each other's governments. Benazir Bhutto was shot dead in 2007 at Rawalpindi. Okay, so there's this event known as Pakka Kila Massacre that took place in Sindh on 27th of May 1990. You can expect a 4-mark question on this as well. So what happened at that time was that Sindh government was having this conflict against MQM, and they carried out this movement to somehow depopularize MQM's control in Sindh at that time. So they had to launch this curfew because of the situation that became unstable at that time. So because the fighting that broke out between Muhajirs and the Sindh government, many people were killed. This massacre added to the unpopularity of Benazir Bhutto because he was the prime minister at that time, and people assume that she failed to basically bring back to maybe control the political situation at that time. All right. Secondly, if you generally summarize the problems Benazir Bhutto had to face as the prime minister, you can also expect a 4-mark question on that, and you can just talk about these problems in a few lines. Maybe number one, most of the politicians at that time were severely opposing her because of the rule of Pakistan People's Party. Zardari was accused of corruption at that time. People's Party was facing these internal conflicts, and Pakistan was also accused of being close to USA at that time. And most of the policies, the internal policies of Pakistan People's Party, were with giving reforms to the provincial government. So the confrontations with these governments, their inclination towards a provincial form of government, this was another point that faced criticism. And then again, events like Pakakala massacre, they caused the instability in country, and the government was obviously blamed for all of these incidents. Okay. Um, with that, you can also expect a question on the family feuds that Benazir Bhutto was going through. So if we discuss these problems in detail, guys, number one, there was this conflict with Benazir Bhutto had this conflict with her mother, Nusrat Bhutto, because her mother wanted her son, Murtaza Bhutto, to be the leader of Pakistan People's Party right after Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. But when Benazir took control, they basically got into a family conflict. So Murtaza Bhutto used to oppose and criticize Benazir's government throughout this time. And at the same time, Zardari was also involved in corruption. He was accused of corruption, which further added to the unpopularity of Benazir Bhutto. And secondly, there was this police ambush that basically was targeted against Murtaza Bhutto, and he was killed in that. So all of these conflicts that the family was facing, the accusations on Zardari, the political instability in the country, all of these points added up to the unpopularity of Benazir Bhutto. You can expect a 7-mark question now altogether on why Benazir Bhutto why did she fall from office in 1990. Number one, issues and conflicts with President Ishaq Khan. So what happened was that President Ishaq Khan wanted to appoint his own army chiefs and the members of armed forces, judges of the Supreme Court, but Benazir Bhutto wanted to reserve this right. She wanted to um, she wanted to appoint these army chiefs, these judges herself. Guys, just a second. Okay, so the conflict between the prime minister and the president led to the dismissal of Benazir Bhutto because President Ishaq Khan wanted to keep this power with himself. He wanted to appoint and dismiss the people he liked, and he didn't want the interference of Benazir Bhutto over there. Technically, Benazir Bhutto had all the rights to appoint the leaders of the chiefs and the judges because obviously we were following the 73 constitution, which gave the all the rights to the prime minister. Okay, secondly, Asif Ali Zardari was accused of blackmailing, bribery, corruption, nepotism, all of these problems because Benazir Bhutto was the prime minister. She was from his family. They all both of them were from Pakistan People's Party. So this became a point of criticism again. And lastly, in the elections of 1990, the government had to form this coalition government with MQM. And the reason was that, you see, guys, can anybody explain what a coalition government is? You can unmute yourselves and maybe add your points. Do you guys, what is a coalition government? No idea? Interesting. You can write down if you want to, if you don't want to maybe speak by unmuting yourselves. Guys, okay, अगर किसी को पता नहीं था तो किसी ने question भी नहीं किया and you guys were just okay with the lecture. Hmm. So coalition government is a combined government of multiple parties when let's say a political party is not able to secure enough seats in an area to secure the government. They invite the local political parties to join in their seats and form a government together. So this is what a coalition government is. Is it now clear? I am expecting responses this time, guys. I start doubting myself if I'm even audible to you guys. Can you all hear me, by the way? Okay, interesting. Um, okay, guys, here's a 7-mark question. I want you guys to attempt this question now. Now the question is there on the screen. Why did Benazir Bhutto fell from office in 1990? I want you guys to attempt this question right now. I'm giving you 10 minutes for this. Uh, I'll I'll keep the screen, the presentation on throughout this time. You guys can read this answer once and then write it in your own words. I'll be expecting different analysis from everybody here in class, okay? You're supposed to send in your answers in the WhatsApp group right now in 10 minutes. This is 5:35 and I'm expecting your responses by 5:45. ठीक है, is it all clear? You can start working now. अच्छा, जिनको नहीं समझ आई, you're supposed to attempt this question. Why did Benazir fell from office in 1990? 7-mark question here. The answer is there on the screen as well, but I want you guys to write it in your own words with different analysis. Analysis ये वाला नहीं किसी ने छापना जो screen पे आ रहा है, ठीक है? You guys need to write your own analysis, all right? You can definitely go through the points that are there on the screen. Okay, that's for your help, but write your own analysis for this answer. 10 minutes from now, 5:35, I'm expecting your answers by 5:45. You can send your answers in the WhatsApp group. If you want to type in, you can do that as well. You can send in typed entries as well. Okay, please start now. Guys, last 5 minutes. Guys, last 2 minutes. You should be preparing for the submission. Even if the answers are not complete, you guys need to submit whatever you've written up till now, okay? All right, guys. So you can submit the responses right now. We are gonna move on to the next question. Okay, so why did Benazir? Okay, now so you see how the first question over here was from 1990. Yeah, her first tenure. You can expect the second question from the second ministry from 1996. Why did she fell from power in 1996? I'm just displaying the question on the screens. You guys can go through it on your own and then we'll move on. Okay. All right, guys, I'm expecting that you guys had gone through these questions. Let me know if there's any question. Are the reasons clear to everyone? Acha, so now this 14 mark question is on the successes and failures of Benazir Bhutto as Prime Minister from both the years 88 to 90 and then 93 to 96. You guys can add up all the successes together and add up all the failures together and then write them. So if you look at these four failures, first of all, I'd recommend you guys to go for these four failures first on level 3 and then three successes on level 4. Okay. So number one, her conflicts with President Isaac. We've already discussed this point. This is one failure. Number two, the charges against her. Charges against her husband, Asif Ali Zardari, were indirectly charges against Benazir Bhutto because both of them belonged to one political party. All right. So these charges caused the unpopularity to increase. Number three, the political conflicts with MQM. You can talk about the Pakka Killa massacre over here as an example. And then killing of Murtaza Bhutto, the family feud. So all of these reasons were the failures of Benazir Bhutto's government. You can write these on level 3 first, right? I mean, you can just bring all of these together from both of these tenures and write them on level 3, and then three successes were number one, she started this research program on missile development with the help of China, and Pakistan launched its first military satellite named Badr 1 to space. This was one of the achievements of the tenure of Benazir Bhutto. You can write it in successes. Number two, she also I mean, she I think She released all the political prisoners that were imprisoned during the tenure of Zia ul Haq, especially this. And she also left all of these bans from the student unions. Zia ul Haq had actually imposed these bans on the unions. So student unions and employer unions are basically sort of these committees that are formed by the students just to raise their voices on a common platform to demand more rights from the authorities. So Zia ul Haq had actually placed bans on all of these unions. Benazir Bhutto lifted these bans, and which was a success. Students could now actually raise their voices on a platform to demand more rights from the concerned authorities. All right, and last success was the launching of first women bank in Pakistan. You can analyze it as it was one of the measures to provide more jobs to women, to support and to strengthen them. And because you see, during the tenure of Zia ul Haq, most of the women were not allowed to work outside of their houses because of the Islamization that was being introduced during that tenure. Benazir Bhutto was actually reversing those policies here. So you can write these as a success. So this is how you're going to be writing 7 points for this question: 4 failures and 3 successes, and then one evaluation at the end. That evaluation will be basically a failure. You'll basically write that this tenure was a failure, all right? Because obviously you'll be writing 4 failures here. Guys, is it all clear? Is there any question now? ठीक है, तो I'm assuming you guys can now attempt this 14-mark question as well. This will be a homework assignment. We're done with the 7-mark question. If you haven't already completed the 7-mark question, I'd suggest that you get it done as soon as possible. ठीक है, so get it done, and you can also submit this 14-mark question. Now I'll be creating a folder on the Google Classroom. I'll share the link with you guys on the WhatsApp group. So be sure to make your submissions on time. Okay, you guys will have time till 12 a.m. tonight to submit. Okay, तो उससे पहले पहले तक ये 14 mark question हो जाना चाहिए.